Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, we have the latest on the Charlotte Flair situation, including Sonya Deville being mad enough to fight.
Why WWE's hands are tied with regards to the Charlotte Flair situation.
The new WWE title challenger was confirmed on last night's episode of Raw.
And what really happened to all those free agents after the WWE draft. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Alright, let's kick things off by talking about a familiar topic over the past 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 days. We've lost count at this point, but it looks like it's going to continue to be a familiar topic going forward. Charlotte Flair, the situation, Friday, belt swap, argument with Becky Lynch backstage. Being told to leave the arena, all of that stuff. Well, it turns out that Becky Lynch wasn't the only person who was a little bit pissed off with what happened, specifically with regards to Charlotte Flair. According to PW Insider's Mike Johnson, in a report that came out yesterday, Sonya Deville, who officiated that segment, she was the woman in the middle as the belt swap was going along, when all the stuff fell apart and all the things that happened. Sonya Deville, backstage, was apparently, in Johnson's report here, mad enough to fight Charlotte at the situation. She too got into it with Flair after what happened, and the situation keeps developing. Now, a brawl with Sonya Deville doesn't sound like something that would go well for Charlotte Flair,
no.
given that Sonya is a former mixed martial artist and everything else. But it's just a situation that kind of keeps growing. I think, like, in the segment itself, Sonya did look a little bit hacked off, didn't she?
Yeah.
The way she kind of stood there and had to deal with all of this live on television and everything else, I can totally see why she'd be annoyed and everything else. It's a really difficult situation, I think, and who knows what the resolution to it's going to be.
I do.
Here we are. Oh, okay.
They're bringing back the brawl for all, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, wow.
No, look, I want to sort of tackle this because me and Hamflet discussed this on the brilliant SmackDown review podcast, wherever you get your podcast from, WhatCulture
SmackDown,
Wrestling.
which is good.
Yeah, and Hamflet, it said some interesting stuff because I sort of compared Sonya Deville to him being a parent with his 2 kids because it was like, no, you give her that toy and then you can have that toy back, and they're just chucking it about and mess. To be fair, and he made a very valid point, as much as, people have made a big deal, and quite rightly, that Charlotte Flair is kind of getting ideas, let's say, above her station, and like you say, all that backstage politicking,
those are the reports.
Protecting your spot, whatever you want to call it, right? The thing is, all 3 women in that segment were made to look stupid by the whole thing. Yeah. There is no way that goes well and people go, what a brilliant main event that was. It is just swapping belts and looking stupid, and they didn't need to put themselves in this situation, and they trying to make it a big thing, they trying to make it competitive and what have you, and they're probably going to be fighting anyway at Survivor Series, well, depending on how that title match goes next week with Bianca Belair, of course, but I just think there was no good way of coming out of this, but this is without doubt one of the worst things to come off it. And it's not just down to that dumb segment. It's also the way Charlotte Flair behaved backstage by the sound.
Yeah, it was a really stupid situation to put them in. And I think, there's a weird core of conspiracy people who are out there going, it's a work, blah, 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 everything else. Well, no, if it was a work, they wouldn't have deleted it from the replay they aired on Saturday night. So that's dumb. Don't get into that straight away. But yeah, here we are, man. It's a whole just layered onion of issues with this, and we'll see how it progresses.
Well, how it's going to progress is the fact that WWE's hands are tied. Another update from Dave Meltzer around this on the latest Figure 4 Online Wrestling Observer update, and it's something we all kind of speculated on yesterday when discussing the future of Charlotte Flair. People saying, what does this mean for her? A lot of Twitter questions. I know you guys have been asking about what we reckon the future holds for her. Well, Dave said it's a tricky situation, isn't it? Does WWE just hand her over to AEW? They have their hands full with this situation, putting across the point that a lot of people have made of, yes, Charlotte Flair was probably out of order, but to a certain extent, you can probably get away with a little bit, Andy, because the alternative is handing your record female world champion over to your opposition, who are, let's be honest, in need of more female superstars.
Yeah, it's a really... Again, interesting to see Dave come through with this quote from a source, effectively acknowledging that if we let this person go, they're probably just going to go straight to the immediate competition, which is, of course, where Andrade, her fiance, is, and everything else. So what a really difficult thing for WWE to have to deal with here. You can say, they should just get rid of her, cut her loose and all of this stuff, but then with the problems we've just discussed come up and everything. But if there are irreconcilable differences between her and other roster members, those need to ideally be dealt with as well. I guess having Charlotte and Becky on different brands mitigates things a little bit, but we're coming up to t-shirt time, brand warfare, where you'd think as the respective champions of Raw and SmackDown, they would have to mingle. It's not an ideal thing either way. I am fascinated to see what comes of this and to see how WWE does address it, but I also think there's a good chance they'll just no-sell the whole thing and try and progress from it.
And probably turn Charlotte Flair babyface. I tell you what, this is enough to make me want to get off the internet, Andy, and just, I don't know, bury my head in a new book.
Very good, very good. Well, you've come to the right place for that, because we are today opening pre-orders at shop.whatculture.com. The links will be in the description below for a trio of books. 2 of them are reprints, 1 updated, 1 is brand new. The first one, that brand new book, you ask, from our very own Michael Sidgwick.
No wonder he's been avoiding me.
He hasn't spoken to either of us for a month. This is why. Becoming All Elite, The Rise of AEW, brand new. Get it in your stocking. We've also got a reprint of Sidgwick's previous book, Development Hell, the NXT story from a few years ago. We also have an updated version of the 505 wrestling matches to see before you die. We've updated that to 606, 101 new matches.
Lucky gits.
Because in the 4 years that have passed since we last published that one, a bunch of great new wrestling has come out. They'll all be available today for pre-order. Shop.whatculture.com. International shipping available. Pre-order now, you'll get them for Christmas. Fill your stockings, feed your inner bookworm, maybe get a present for your friend, your pet worm, your dog walker, whatever the heck you want to do. It's a good time.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I've been trying to keep stum about it, and I'm awful at keeping secrets. But look, I'm really excited to get these out there. Development Hell, Sidgwick's book. I've seen people getting into it recently with all the fallout of the Wednesday Night Wars and what have you. The 606 wrestling matches you need to see before you die. I know you guys have been working really hard on that, and Sidge has been working his balls off on this book, all about All Elite Wrestling.
He's got big balls, so
and he's got big old balls. And honestly, by the sounds of it, from the things I've heard and seen about it all, it's going to be sensational. He's a brilliant writer. He's clearly got a passion for AEW. And like you say, whether you want to buy it for a family member, a friend, or, as I often do at Christmas, just for yourself. Just buy it for yourself, right, from Santa, and then at least you know you're going to get one excellent present, perfect in time for Christmas. Yeah, go and pre-order them now. Links in the description.
New WWE title contender determined on last night's episode of Raw. Seth the Chef, innit? So they did this in a very imaginative way. A promo train, opening segment, Big E. Bunch of people came out. I'm just going to run through this because the video's going to go half an hour if I don't. Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, Rey Mysterio, Seth Rollins all coming down and going, hey Big E, I want a title shot. Sonya Deville came out and said, you dorks, she didn't call them dorks, get in a ladder match later tonight. 4-way ladder match, contract above the ring. Seth the Chef won that. He's the WWE title contender. No word on when that match with Big E will happen, but they had a little face-off on the ramp as Seth the Chef was going to the back afterwards. WWE's next pay-per-view is, of course, Survivor Series. That's usually brand versus brand, t-shirt time as we always call it, rather than individual brand-specific programs, but who knows, maybe they'll make an exception. Maybe they'll do it on TV. Who knows? That's the match. Boom, bots.
Love it. I think it's a great idea. Like, in terms of, yes, I know Seth lost at the pay-per-view, but they addressed that, and they didn't just hoy him in because he asked for it or because he attacked Big E. They put 4 potential contenders out there, and you thought the other 3, there's a story to be told there, but Seth actually probably was the best person for this. Like I say, even though he's just lost to Edge, that was more of a blood feud than a title feud. He's not just coming out of...
Wins and losses don't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? But, and also the dynamic does actually work really well. Pure good in Big E versus...
Jacket guy.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued to see. I think these two are going to play off each other really well. And in the ring, I'm just so excited to see what they can do as well. So yes, wins and losses, rankings, but let's be honest, it's WWE, so we just put all that to one side. I'm looking forward to it, and I think they're going to be really good. Maybe they're even going to put the title match on telly and give it a proper amount of time, try and pop a rating, or they could put it all the way off until the new year, in which time they'll no doubt done a can they coexist as a tag team storyline, because that's all they can do. Right, let's finally talk about all those undrafted free agents after the WWE draft. A bit of an update from PW Insider's Mike Johnson surrounding what's actually gone on there. He has updated us as to where they all are or what they're all doing. Asuka, of course, was an undrafted free agent, injured or just off telly at the moment. She's on Raw. Bayley, of course, still recovering from that horrific injury. She is just unassigned. Brock Lesnar, as you probably can tell, is going to be sticking around on SmackDown. Dakota Bloody Kai, she is still going to be sticking around on NXT, although that is now NXT 2.0. She's the one in the graveyard, in case you hadn't noticed. Elias, he's putting a new hat on and staying on Raw. Eva Marie, she's shit. Lacey Evans, she's also unassigned. Lacey Evans, unassigned. Lucha House Party, Raw, and Titus O'Neil, so big that both shows can't contain him.
Yeah, there you go. No great surprises here. Long-term absentees are unassigned. You got the Lucha House Party who asked for their releases. I mean,
genuinely thought they might. Some of them have been released. To be honest.
Well, Kalisto went earlier in this year, didn't he? And now we just got Lindsay Dorado and Grand Metalik. Really, I mean, if they want out, just let them out. Let them be free. No great surprises. Short-term absentees still assigned to brands. Brock on SmackDown. Yep.
It's going to be interesting which side the unassigned ones pick ahead of Brand Warfare at Survivor Series. Speaking of which, Survivor Beeries can be yours with our partnership with Top Rope Brewing. Unfortunately, again, this is only for our fans here in the UK. But if you want to get your hands on 12 brilliant craft beers in time for Survivor Series, it's going to be Top Rope versus WhatCulture.
We're going to fight them.
Bring it on. 45 quid all in, absolute bargain. 12 craft beers, free delivery. You'll get them in time for Survivor Series, celebrating 5 years of Top Rope Brewing. All you need to do is head to the link in the description and enter the code Here's Why for free delivery. Shout out to our friends at Top Rope Brewing who've supported us for a long time, and they make absolutely delicious beers, so much so they litter this set immediately after a stream, as you can see
I
right
had this
here.
for my breakfast.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question, a message from you, Rudy. Rudy Hernandez says, I've been a fan for a long while, love your stuff. How long do you think it will take until Keith Lee, or Bearcat Keith Lee, or Keith Bearcat Lee, whatever his bloody
Bearcat Lee
goes up against Archer of Infamy, Damian Priest?
Yeah, that seems like a direction they could head in. It's a logical one for the United States title division. It's a really good match, absolutely. I don't think it'll be long at all. Let's get t-shirt time out of the way. Let's talk about that at the end of the year.
Yeah,
Day one. There we go.
And very nice to see Keith Bearcat Lee, or whatever they're calling him, getting a bit of a push.
And he roars now.
And he certainly gave Cedric Alexander a bit of a push at the start of their match.
That's what I want. I'm rawr. Yep.
But yeah, I'd love to see that match, and hopefully not too long. Thank you for the question, Rudy. Second question today comes from Matt Ryan, aka Aussie Dead, talking about that pay-per-view schedule that came out yesterday. He says, with the pay-per-view schedule revealed for 2022 with a couple of TBD pay-per-views, would you like a return of a Cyber Sunday or another classic pay-per-view?
Yeah, sure. Like, I always thought Cyber Sunday was fun, even, when they gimmick the polls,
yes.
right? But, it's a cool way to have some kind of interaction and everything else. I do think that the slots that are going to be filled up, I think there'll be Saudi Arabia shows, because those weren't on the schedule, and the UK show. So I don't necessarily know if we have room for anything beyond those two. What's the UK one going to be? Insurrection?
I hope so. And I hope it's voiced by Zelina Vega in her new British voice, like.
Yeah, although maybe not the best idea to hold a pay-per-view called Insurrection after the events of this January.
Good point, very good point.
But yes, I would like to say Zelina Vega.
Why don't we call it
on
Brexit?
The show.
Just call it Brexit.
Brexit.
Brexit the pay-per-view. There you go, WWE.
Tory Geddon.
But yes, bring back Cyber Sunday. It's the best pay-per-view that they don't do currently. Hey, it's Halloween Havoc today, isn't it? I've just realised.
Yeah.
Right, final question today comes from Eddie Zamhari, who says, hey fellas, if you're invited to join a survival game where you had to stay in an island for 1 week and you have to choose one wrestler as a survival friend, who would it be? Eddie, good pick here. Bryan Danielson. He knows how to forage and live off the land, doesn't he?
Yeah, good choice. I'm going for a trio. I'm cheating. I'm going for the entire Jurassic Express.
Yes!
Number one, Jungle Boy. He's from the jungle, mate. So, we're kind of screwed if it's like a snow island and not a jungle one. But hey, look, I'm taking that gamble. Luchasaurus is a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Easy solution. You can hunt animals for food and be big and stuff.
There's only one left.
And Marco's stunned. I can just throw it like tigers and stuff when I'm in danger. So it's a perfect combination.
If you're running out of food and the other two are looking at you, you're like, yeah, should we eat Marco's stomach first?
He's quite skinny though. I don't know if there's much meat on those bones.
Yeah.
I think they probably look at me and go, oh, there's a succulent cut.
I'm going to pick Duke Bloody Hudson.
Why?
Because, oh wait, changes gimmick every week, so
Okay.
one of them's got to be Steve Irwin impersonator. We've got a bloody wild one here. I wrestle some crocodiles with Duke Bloody Hudson, and if you get bored, play a bit of poker with him. So there you go.
There you go.
And if not that, he's tall as well, and we can talk about. Oh, there's a bloody nightmare being tall, isn't it? Hey.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let us know
Yeah.
your
Sure.
picks,
Okay.
who you'd like to hang out on an island with. Don't be horrible in the comments. I just realised that if you're going to be stranded on it, don't be weird.
Don't be a
Don't be
pervert.
weird. Right, okay, let's move on
Perverts.
to today's and finally. I was going to have the photo of The Miz on Dancing with the Stars because this week he's the Pin Man from Hellboy.
A pin face.
Yeah, that's the one.
Hellboy.
But in fact, there's going to be comments. But in fact, we're just going to put up this image of Big E watching the TV over his shoulder because he's an absolute legend. Miller tweeted this image just with the words, "My hero," because WWE don't understand how people watch telly, so they probably even thought, actually, that's a good thing because you can see just how big that guy is. You can see his chest.
Yeah.
I love
Good.
Big E.
Very
What a guy.
funny. Very
He's making all this work, isn't he? And yeah, he's Simon Miller. It's his hero. It's all of our hero here at WhatCulture. Love you, Big E. Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and one of the Dudley boys, the other one working hard on that book of his, reviewing Monday Night Raw and looking ahead to NXT 2.0 and Halloween Havoc, of course, later on today. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there, follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray
At Andy H. Murray, the H stands for honk.
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 If you are.
A goose. Or a bus.
Follow me at Adam Wilmore. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.
Honk.
Honk.